Next item, and this is a brand new item. I've actually never done a presentation of this before. This may be something that maybe you've heard of. People are talking about it. It's really kind of like a big buzz about it. It's called a story. Record your memory with a gift box, and it's a 1-year subscription. So what is this? This is the gift of memories. Memories like an audiobook. Imagine if somebody in your family told the story of their lives to you in an audiobook. How would you get them to do that? You know, I mean, sometimes people hire like a celebrity will hire a ghostwriter and they interview them over a year and then they compile all this and it's, tens of thousands of dollars. For $79.99, Story will do that with somebody in your family. It's really an extraordinary idea, very, very innovative. And this is the very first time I've done a presentation on air, and I know it's really new. We're doing free shipping and handling, and I think this is the first airing.
It is, yeah, first time it's ever been on air.
Yeah.
And this is amazing because it really is a brand new, unique way for you to preserve your family's memories and legacy. And what I love so much about it is you can get this for your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, and they don't have to type a word. They don't have to write anything down. They don't have to have Wi-Fi in their home. They don't have to be tech savvy. This is such a simple and easy service. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Cameron Graham, the amazing inventor behind this, in just a few moments and what really brought him to this idea. But here's what it is. You're gonna get this gorgeous gift box, so really easy to gift to a loved one. It comes with 3 simple cards inside. The first card is going to explain the story service, and the story service is this. There are over 1,000 curated questions that the folks at Story are going to be able to ask your loved ones via an animated or automated phone call. So you can either choose from some of the questions that are already pre-curated, or you can come up with your own questions. Then on your loved one's schedule, you're gonna be able to have those calls come in to their home on their landline. Again, no smartphone needed, or it could be on their smartphone, whatever works best for them. And that automated voice says, "Hi, it's time for your story call. Please tell me about your favorite vacation that you've ever had." And then your loved one starts talking in their own voice about that favorite memory, that place that they went. Maybe it was the Grand Canyon when they were young with their husband at the time. And that memory is then recorded. So you can get those phone calls to be scheduled to come in up to 3 times a week. Then at the end of the year, or if you want to end it sooner, you certainly can, you're going to receive this beautiful audiobook with all of the questions and all of the clips of the voice of your loved one telling all of these stories. So what makes this so unique and special? How do you get people talking, right? These questions, probing questions, something different that they might not expect hearing, gets them talking. So a lot of the people that have used this service actually say that it's been kind of a journey of discovery about their loved one. They've learned things about their loved one, their aunts, their uncles, their grandparents that they never knew before. And thanks to this service, it gets them talking, they relive old times, and you have that record forever. It is a lifelong keepsake. And now you can hear the inflections in their voices.
Do you need anything like the internet or any kind of technology?
No, nothing. As long as you have a phone line, and it could be a landline. So
could it be a cell phone?
Cell phone. It could be a cell phone. If they have a cell phone, that works too. But they don't have to have a smartphone to do it.
Okay.
So really easy.
So just the phone rings, you answer the phone, and you know it's Story, and then it asks you a question, and it's kind of an unexpected question.
It could be.
And the nice thing is you're like alone in your house, so instead of like standing up in front of a group of people, which I'll tell you, working in television, we are kind of oblivious that this is like people's #1 fear is public speaking.
True. That's true.
We kind of do it in our sleep. I mean, basically it's what we do for a living.
Yeah,
but,
for years,
But people like saying, okay, Grandma, tell us about how you and Grandpa met, or tell us about, your what was your childhood like, or something. They may be like, oh, well, you don't want to, let me make you something to eat, or, there's a lot of deflect. This is like, tell us the story. And they're like, okay, you say it into the phone. But we're going to take a listen, and we're going to hear some of the questions.
I met Hank when I moved to Jamaica, Long Island, from New Jersey. I was 11, he was 14, and I thought he was the most handsome boy I ever saw in my life. He thought I was just a baby from up the street.
Oh, I was just crazy about my Dad's parents, they were the best, just the best. I saw them probably once or twice a year, every year of my life. We would sit on the green sofa and he would say, "Who's your favorite boyfriend?" And I'd rub his bald head and say, "You, Opa." And he would laugh.
I learned a lot from my dad, and it's hard to remember because he's been gone almost 50 years, but I think what I could say about that is that I learned unconditional love from him. I learned how that feels and how maybe I can give it as well, which I do feel like I do. I do give unconditional love to my family, especially my child and my husband.
You know, it's interesting. There's all sorts of like I love watching documentaries, and I think about all these, but I don't think about the documentary of like my own life or my own family members. But I'm listening to the voices, and people aren't around for forever. So you're also preserving the voice and the history of that person in their own words.
In their own words. And they're not writing anything, where sometimes you might elaborate or, you know, put it on in a different way if you're writing or typing. You don't have to do that. You're just explaining it. So it's really in a more natural voice.
Right.
And if you think about, too, if you've lost a loved one, I lost my dad a couple years ago. For a long time, I held on to the voicemails because I didn't want to lose being able to hear his voice. So sorry, but so that's why this is so great, because you can hear them tell their story in their own voice, and I just think that's so valuable. And you and I were joking, you know, about a lot of folks have memory issues. You know, one of my very close loved ones right now has dementia, and it's been very difficult.
Right. Yeah.
And we were kind of joking about how, you know, you kind of hear the same stories over and over again.
Yeah.
And while they're here, you know, you kind of are like, okay, I've heard that story a lot, but a day will come.
Well, you want to hear that story.
Where you wish you could.
And you want to hear that story in their voice.
That's right.
And that's what you're able to do with this. The two of us are just going to be gone in 2 seconds. But $79.99. This is a new concept. This is an exclusive offer. This is the very first airing. Free shipping. So it's going to be a gift that you give to someone. You know, who do you want to hear the story of their life? There might be more than one person. You might want to get a couple of them. And then compare the two sides of, like, maybe grandpa's version of how they met to grandma's version.
That would be fun.
It might be fun to, like, hear the two versions of two different lives that were lived together. And then you have that for forever for your children and grandchildren. You know, my father and mother are 90 and a half. They're going to be 91 in January. This year they became great grandparents. Wow. So my brother's son had a baby, so my parents are now great grandparents, and I know that baby is a baby and got to meet my dad.
Right.
But you know, obviously at 90, he's not going to spend 30 years with him. This would be amazing if he had, like, the story of his life in his own words.
It will allow the great grandson to get to know him.
Right.
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 Let me go through the contents of the box one more time, and then I want to show you the video, the audio that you're going to get. That audio book is amazing. So here's the gift box. This is the instructions. So this tells you everything that you need to do to get started with Story. It is so simple. It is so easy. If your loved one wants to talk a little bit more, if they want to call in because they feel like answering a question, they can do that at their convenience. I love the fact that if I do the registering as an example, for my mom, I will get a notification that she's about to be called, so I can just give her a little heads up. Hey, you're about to get your Story call. So I like that I can be in on that process too. You can set this up for a loved one. Maybe they're to a point where they can't quite set it up themselves, but it's really easy. You're also going to get some example questions, and then you're going to get an activation code. So you're going to go, you know, on the phone and just say your name and enter your activation code. Here are a few of the questions that you might get. What are the most important lessons you've learned in life? And I mean, this gets people talking. What world events have had the biggest impact on you? What was one of the most important moments in your career? How would you describe your relationship with religion? I mean, these are good,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
What are your beliefs about the afterlife? So you can go from these curated questions, or over 1,000 of them, or you can have your own questions that Story can then call, and with that animated or that that automated voice, just say, hey, here's your Story question. So it's coming from you, but it's in a different way. So like you said, it's going to be more of a real answer.
When you get the audio book at the end, about how long is the audio book?
Can you hand me that
Yes,
iPad real
yes.
quick? I just want to show you guys an example of the audiobook. So it really depends on how much they talk, and it really depends on how many questions they ask, but you're going to get this full audiobook. So it's going to show you what the questions were and what each of the individual answers were. And some of the answers
almost
might
like
be
music tracks.
Almost like music tracks.
I
Exactly.
see.
So it might be, some of the answers might be a minute long, some might be 3 minutes long, some might be 6.5 minutes long. So this is you really getting your loved one to open up. And real quick, I just want to talk about the founder, the inventor, Cameron Graham, amazing guy. Here's how he came up with the idea. I thought this was so interesting. He was doing a run for charity. He was experiencing kidney failure and had to go to the hospital, very serious. He had a roommate, basically in the hospital, an elderly gentleman with dementia named Peter, and Peter kept to himself until his granddaughter came in, and then she would start asking him how he was and getting him talking, and he came